Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the M10. It's the Tier 5 American tank destroyer, a turreted tank destroyer, and it's located on the west spawn of Studzianki. Now, I didn't call this the Wolverine when I called it the M10 because the Wolverine was the name that was actually affixed to the M10 by British troops, not by the American troops. Well, they may have adopted the name Sherman for the M4, but they didn't adopt the name Wolverine for the M10. It was simply known as a tank destroyer, and in fact actually was used as a support SPG as well, because the M10 did fire indirectly at the enemy using some of the types of gun that it had, such as the 3-inch howitzer. Now, this one is on the west spawn. It's under the command of JohnnieP, and battle about to commence. Now, I can see one mark of excellence on the barrel, so I think JohnnieP knows how to handle this one. Now, he's using the 76mm gun, not the standard stock gun, which is the 3-inch. So he's got a little bit better fire rate, damage of 115 and penetration of a 128. Now this gun, this tank destroyer can carry a different gun. It could also carry a 105mm anti-tank gun, the M4 one, which has got penetration of 53mm, but can do 410 hit points of damage with a shot. But today we're using the 76mm because it's got a better fire rate. Okay, JohnnieP is taking up a position in the south, on the west side, using the bush mechanic to get shots at the enemy. Okay, and he's sitting there in ambush, waiting for the enemy to appear. Now, somebody is using an illegal mod, or rather it is a mod under Aslains, so it should be legal technically, but it is actually telling other people that the enemy Arty is now reloading for so and so amount of time. And of course that's giving away the reload time, which I thought actually was illegal, but apparently it is part of Aslains, so it's apparently legal. So Wargame, you need to address that problem and to tell us if that's legal or illegal, and maybe to get Aslains to remove it from their mod pack, because it is giving information away on the enemy Arty reloads, which shouldn't be allowed. Now that T-37 is actually in the dip, so we can't get shots on him at the moment. Oh no, that wasn't going to work. He's actually below in the dip, in the river, so you're not going to get shots on him from here. There is an OI experimental up ahead though. There he is. Oh, he's taken some damage already. But the buildings are obscuring him at the moment. He's on this side of the map though. Swapping bushes. Okay, we've exposed ourselves now. We will be seen when we shoot if the enemy's in sight, because we're not behind the bush. Not using the bush mechanic anymore. But I think he needs to get shots on those enemies. The OI's on the other side of the riverbank. The KV-1S is on our side. Right, is the KV-1S going to come into view? He might. T-37 still in the gap, in the dip. Ah, KV-1S. Oh no. Well, he's fighting out that BDR. Now T-37's come up. Get shots on him now. There he is. Oh, missed the opportunity to. Bounced him. Reloaded and yes, gets one in there. 118. T-37's now one shot. We lost. Oh, we lost the Su-85. Oh, missed on the T-37. That's unfortunate, but he has been killed. The Su-100, the box tank got him. There's a round into the KV-1S. Kills him, but we probably would have been seen. Although the Sixth Sense hasn't gone off, we don't know if JohnnieP does have Sixth Sense. He might not. Oh, there's an Arty round arcing through the sky. I think that Arty round was after the OI. Now he's pulling back behind the bushes to use the bush mechanic on the OI, who will probably push forward now that he knows that the KV-1S has been wiped out. Okay, we've reloaded APCR for the OI. It's got a slightly better penetration. You'll get 177 penetration with 115 damage. If he was using the other one, it was 128. So it's 50 extra millimeters. There he is. He's in sight. And we need to get a good surface to get a hit on. Unfortunately, that building's in the way at the moment. But if he comes around the corner, if we can get him in the side, that will help. Oh, he did manage through the building into the target. And he has been killed. He was killed by the box tank. Oh, why is he firing? Don't keep firing, he's dead. Oh, I don't know why he's doing that. He's wasted a huge amount of APCR there. That OI was dead. I think that may have been a mistake by him. He thought it was still alive. The box tank got him the moment that he got a side shot into him. Now, the British actually had a version of the M10 which they called the Achilles. It was actually armed with a 17-pounder gun, which is much more effective than the 76mm, which the Americans armed their M10s with. In fact, actually, the Achilles is actually at the Tank Museum at Bovingdon, if you want to see one. Based on the chassis of the M4, as you can see, it's a late model. It's an M4A1. I thought, no, A2, sorry. And they did make some from the A3 chassis as well. Now, as far as we know, the 82's in the dip, but he's being held there by the box tank. So we could probably move into the dip ourselves and get some shots on that 82, because he looks like he's a one-shot. I think he's a one-shot. We've gone back to standard AP. Although, to get through the hull of the 82, you probably do need the APCR round, unless, of course, you fire at his sides. Now, the bad thing about the M10 is the turret rotation. It's very, very slow. So, really, you need to ambush targets and be pre-aimed at them. Because if you come up to a target and try to shoot them and then expect your turret to turn to aim at the target, by the time it's turned, the enemy will have filled you full of holes and you'll be dead. And unfortunately, that's something that happens to all M10 drivers if you do play this tank destroyer. Now, a lot of people will be surprised that this was, in actual fact, an SPG, because the Americans used to use it as an SPG for indirect fire support. And there are many photos showing an M10 with a huge number of shell cases littering around the vehicle as they've been firing indirectly at the enemy. Now, being an open-topped tank destroyer means that it doesn't have a lot of protection from shells coming in from above, but it really only needs protection for the crew from small arms fire, because you don't really expect it to see enemy tanks or enemy Arty if they can help it, because then they'll really miss that top to their turret. Of course, the Jackson does have a top to its turret. It's just the Wolverine, or M10 as I should call it, doesn't. Of course, the Jackson's the next step up, and after the Jackson, of course, we've got the Hellcat. Sorry, it's the other way round. It's the Hellcat, then the Jackson. Get it right. The Hellcat's the M18, the Jackson's the M36. I know a lot of you would have been saying, oh, Nigel, you got that wrong. Yes, I'm afraid I did. But then I'm human. Now, we're not doing too well here, because we're down 3 tanks at the moment. There's 2 tank destroyers, 2 Arty, and the enemy team has got 1 heavy, 3 tank destroyers, or 2 tank destroyers now, and 3 Arty. So, and of course, as you know, one of our tank destroyers is the box tank, that huge 13cm naval gun. We've got an M44 in the north and one in the south nearby us. And at the moment, we're just sitting here waiting for the enemy to turn up. I have a suspicion that this is going to get rather hectic rather rapidly. Now, somebody's saying, where's the SCA? They mean the S35. Oh, the AT2 just got killed by the box tank. Well, that's good news. They could go on the offensive, and I think that's what JohnnieP's going to do. He's knocking a tree over, but that will give away his position to the Arty if they're looking for him. And the last thing you want to do in any tank is sit at the base of a tree that you've knocked down, because obviously that's where the Arty is going to expect to fire. That's the most likely position for any tank that knocks down a tree. In fact, the ideal thing to do if you're knocking down trees is knock down all of them and then leave it to the enemy Arty to work out which one you're actually going to be behind. Oh, KV2 on the enemy team is coming in from the north. And there's the Hummel. He's making his way this way. And, yep, one round in.
Enemy armor is damaged.
2 rounds in.
Penetration.
One last. And takes him out the game. 91. But they do know where we are now. So enemy Arty will be firing in this direction. Or should be. Unless they're on the move. They dealt with the KV2. Say the big problem's that S35CA, the bathtub, because he's got a wicked gun, can do a lot of damage with one shot. Doesn't really want to come across that if you can help it. Looks like the box tank and the Arty are going to try and protect their cap. And in the meantime, JohnnieP is going to go on the assault, try and find the enemy Arty. Now, one of the places the enemy Arty might try to hide is in K0. And that's where he's approaching right now. And then I think what he'll probably do is go up the 0 line until he encounters the first Arty. Okay, nobody in K0. So, next trick is to go up the 0 line and try and see if we can find them. We don't want to come across that S35 if we can help it. Even though we've suffered no damage, we could lose all our hit points very, very quickly to that S35. Nothing in sight. Oh, there's the S35. He's on the other side of the map, and he's just been killed by our box tank, and the box tank killed him at exactly the same moment. So that's an eye for an eye. So it's just the enemy Arty to kill. One's an M44, the other one's a gorilla. I expect one of them will be near the cap, and the other one will probably be somewhere in the north. I would think the gorilla will be the one closest to the cap. Well, he's not, and that's unusual. We're not going to cap because that's not the right thing to do. Tell the enemy Arty where we are and allow him to take 3 shots at us. So what we're going to do instead is we're going to go hunt him. And first corner we're going to look at, I think, will be... Well, he's looked in A0, but he might still be over there in those bushes. Let's have a go and have a look. Just to be certain. We're within proximity detection range and nothing turned up, so... See that little white circle around the vehicle on the mini-map? That's the auto detection zone. So he's not there. Now normally what I would do is I'd use cover to try and move up from spot to spot to see if I can find the enemy without the enemy seeing me. Of course, it's exactly the same thing you do if you were Arty. You'd move from cover to cover, hoping that you don't get spotted by the enemy in the meanwhile. Now, enemy could be in grid squares A5 or A6, but it looks to me like the enemy might have moved ahead and be much closer to our cap. The M44 is moving to the north. Oh, he's found the M4 there. The M44 has been found. And it looks like the enemy M44 got a shot into our M44. And, oh, that shot came from his teammate. So the Griller must be nearby. He hasn't been found yet. He's got 2 kills, but we know where one of the M44s is. And there's the other. There's the Griller. Okay. He's going to try and kill the M44 first. One shot in. The other M44 kills him. Goes for the Griller. Gets one shot in. And the kill shot. And the Griller fires at the last second. So he gets 2 kills on Arty, the Hummel and the Griller. And that gives him a Pascucci's. And game over. He wins. So let's have a look at the end of battle stats. It's a first class tanker for JohnnieP in the M10. He also managed to get a fire for effect for getting more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, and a Pascucci's medal for killing 2 of the enemy Arty, the Hummel and the Griller. And a win 8 for that battle, 3-2-6-8. So let's have a look at the team score. Well, you can see here that he didn't get the highest amount of damage during the battle. Actually, in fact, it was the S35CA managed to get the highest amount. He got 1,198 hit points of damage and a win rate of 2,842. Obviously, he was killed by the box tank. And the box tank managed to get the top gun and tanker sniper, getting 6 kills and doing the most damage at a distance of more than 300 meters. When it came to damage, the M10 managed 916 hit points of damage, beaten by the BDR-G1B and of course the box tank. When it came to kills though, it was the box tank who managed to get the highest amount with 6, then came the M10 with 3, then the M44 who survived the battle with 3 kills, and then there was a whole slew of tanks on the enemy team, including the KV-2, the KV-1S, the Griller and the Hummel, who all managed to get 2 kills apiece. When it came to base XP, it was the M10 who managed to get the highest amount. He got 758, not enough to get an ace tanker, but still pretty good all the same to get a first class. He beat the box tank with 667 and the M44 with 551. Nice for the M44 to get that last kill on the enemy M44 at the time, but it would have been nicer even still if he'd left the M44 for the M10, because that would have given him the chance of a Dimitri's instead of just a Pascucci's. But if he had actually fired that last shot at the M44, I think that the Griller would have had longer time to aim at the M10 and possibly to land a shot on him. When it came to the detailed report, we can see he fired 17 rounds, he got 10 direct hits, 9 penetrations, damage of 916 hit points, of which 253 were at more than 300 meters. He spotted 2 enemy vehicles, the the Griller and the Hummel. He damaged 6 of the enemy, killed 3 of them, and did 124 hit points of damage assistance. I think that was maybe on the T-37 or one of the other tanks anyway. On a premium count, he earned 24,423 credits, and after ammunition resupply, he took away 6,567 credits. He received 1 bond for the Pascucci's, earned 1,137 XP, times 2 for the first victory, took away 2,274 experience points altogether. So a pretty good round there for the M10. And if you can play this tank destroyer quite well, then obviously it bodes well for you when you get the M18 Hellcat, because of course that is one of the really good tank destroyers, along with the T-67 and the Jackson on the American line, and they're well worth getting because you can have game-changing scores with the M18 Hellcats. But this is a pretty good round by the M10 Wolverine, and I should use the word Wolverine. I shouldn't use it because it's only the British that called it the Wolverine. The Americans didn't. They just called it the M10 or a TD. So we leave it at that. So if you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel, and hopefully it'll be your replay that I'll be featuring in the next video.